Dear viewers, my talk today is in continuation to my previous talk on series solution of homogeneous linear differential equations. We know that homogeneous linear differential equations with constant coefficients can be solved by algebraic methods, and the solutions are known functions of calculus like sin x, cos x, exponential x and so on. But in case where the coefficients of the homogeneous linear differential equations are not constants but functions of x, the solutions may not be non-elementary functions. So the examples of Bessel's equation, Legender's equation, hypergeometric equations fall in this category. In our last lecture we had discussed the solution of Legender's equation by power series method. In our today's lecture we shall discuss the general method for finding the solution of a homogeneous linear differential equation in a power series in an infinite series by the method will be known as Frobenius method. So we know that a linear differential equation may not possess solutions in the closed form, that is in terms of familiar functions. In such cases we seek the solution as an infinite series in terms of the independent variable. The series solution can be classified into two categories: power series method, general series solution method. In our last lecture we had discussed the power series method for finding the solution of a solution of a homogeneous linear differential equation. The general series method, general series solution method is an extension of the power series method. It is known as Frobenius method. Let us first discuss some important points like ordinary and similar points of a differential equation. Let the functions aix I equal to 0, 1 and 2 in the differential equation a naught x into y double dash plus a1 x into y dash plus a2 x into y equal to 0, where y is a function of x, be analytic at a point x equal to x naught. By analyticity at x equal to x naught, we mean that the function can be represented by a power series in the powers of x minus x naught with the positive radius of convergence. The radius of convergence r is equal to the distance of x naught from the nearest singular point of the function f. The interval of convergence is given by mod of x minus x naught less than r. Now let us define an ordinary point and a singular point of the differential equation. An ordinary point is defined as a point x equal to x naught for which a naught x naught is not equal to 0. A point x equal to x naught is said to be an ordinary point of the differential equation 1 if a naught does not vanish at x equal to. A point which is not an ordinary point of the differential equation is called a singular point. For example, let us take the differential equation 1 minus x square into y double dash minus 2x y dash plus 6y equal to 0. So if you compare it with equation 1, here a naught x is equal to 1 minus x square, a1 x is minus 2x and a2 x equal to 6. And when we put a naught x equal to 0, we find that x equal to plus minus 1. Therefore x equal to plus minus 1 are the singular points of this differential equation, while all other points are regular points. A singular point x naught of equation 1 is said to be a regular singular point if and only if the functions x minus x naught into px and x minus x naught into qx, where px is given by a1 x over a naught x and qx is given by a2 x over a naught x, have removable singularities at x naught. Let us now define an irregular singular point. A singular point x naught of equation 1 is said to be an irregular singular point if and only if x naught is not a regular singular point. For example, let us consider the differential equation 1 minus x square into y double dash minus 2x y dash plus n into n plus 1 y equal to 0, where n is a constant. Here the singular points are x equal to plus minus 1. Further, px is equal to minus 2x over 1 minus x square and qx is n over n plus 1 1 minus x square. Now let us multiply px by 1 minus x and qx by 1 minus x whole square. We note that the functions, resulting functions, have removal similarities at x equal to 1, and therefore they can be expanded by Taylor series about x equal to 1. So x equal to 1 is a regular similar point of the equation, differential equation 2, and similarly we can see that x is equal to minus 1 is also a regular similar point of the equation 2. Now let us look at the theorem on the existence of a power series solution. So this theorem we had used in our previous lecture on power series solution. This theorem says that let x equal to x naught be an ordinary point of the differential equation 1, then every solution by x of the equation 1 is analytic at x equal to x naught. That is, every solution by x of the equation 1 can be represented by a power series in the powers of x minus x naught with a positive radius of convergence. Let us now discuss series solution about a regular singular point. This method is called as Frobenius method. So let x equal to x naught be a regular singular point of the differential equation 1, then by definition of a singular point a naught x naught is equal to 0. Since x naught is a regular singular point, we can write the equation, differential equation 1 as x minus x naught whole square into y double dash plus x minus x naught into rx into y dash plus sx into y equal to 0, where rx is a1x over a naught x into x minus x naught and sx is equal to a2x over a naught x into x minus x naught whole square, and they are analytic at x equal to x naught, because x equal to x naught is a regular singular point. Now the Frobenius method actually follows from this theorem. This theorem is given by Frobenius. It says that in the neighborhood of a regular singularity x equal to x naught, that is, in the neighborhood of a regular singular point at x equal to x naught, at least one solution of the differential equation 1 can be expressed in the form by x equal to sigma m equal to 0 to infinity Cm x minus x naught to the power m plus r, where C naught is not equal to 0 and r is any real r complex number. The equation 1 also has a second linearly independent solution that may be similar to the solution 4, or it may contain a logarithmic term. The power r of x minus x naught here distinguishes it from the power series solution, because here r need not be a non-negative integer. If it is a non-negative integer, then it will reduce to a power series. The series 4 will reduce to a power series, and therefore we can say that this Frobenius method is an extension of the power series method. So let us assume the series solution of equation 3 to be of the form 4. Since Rx and Sx are analytic at x equal to x naught, we can write their power series. The series of Rx, let us write at sigma j equal to 0 to infinity aj x minus x naught to the power j, and Sx we may write as sigma j equal to 0 to infinity bj x minus x naught to the power j. And let us now substitute the expressions for yx, Rx and Sx in the equation number 3. Then we shall have sigma m equal to 0 to infinity m plus r minus 1 Cm x minus x naught to the power m plus r, because the first term in that equation is x minus x naught whole square into y double dash. So when you differentiate y twice and multiply by x minus x naught whole square, you get the power of x minus x naught as m plus r here. And then in the next term we put the power series for the function Rx, that is a naught plus a1 into x minus x naught plus a2 x minus x naught whole square and so on, and multiply by x minus x naught into y dash. When you write y dash, then the power of x minus x naught will reduce by 1, but when we multiply by x minus x naught, it will remain x naught to the power m plus r. So in the second term we have the series sigma m equal to 0 to infinity m plus r into Cm into x minus x naught to the power m plus r, and then in the last term we have Sx into y. So for power series for Sx, we write b naught plus b1 x minus x naught plus b2 x minus x naught whole square and so on, and multiply by y, that is sigma m equal to 0 to infinity Cm x minus x naught to the power m plus r equal to 0. Since the equation is an identity, the coefficients of various powers of x minus x naught should vanish. Now let us equate to 0 the coefficient of the lowest power of x minus x naught which occurs in this equation, and the lowest power of x minus x naught is x minus x is r. So let us equate the coefficient of x minus x naught to the power r equal to 0. We will obtain r into r minus 1 plus r a naught plus b naught into c naught equal to 0, which implies that r into r minus 1 plus r a naught plus b naught is equal to 0, as c naught is not equal to 0. This equation is known as the initial equation, and its two roots are called the initial roots. Now the initial equation in the Frobenius method has a great significance, because the nature of the roots of the initial equation tells us the form of the second independent solution of the differential equation. So let us say that y1x be a solution for one of these roots of the initial equation, then the form of the second independent solution, say y2x of the differential equation, will depend on the value of the second root. Now let us equate to 0 the coefficients of remaining powers of x minus x naught. They will give us a recurrence relation involving the coefficients Cm, from where we can determine the values of the coefficients Cm for both the initial roots. Then the general solution of the differential equation is written as y(x) equal to a times y1x plus b times y2x, where a and b are arbitrary constants. Now depending upon the nature of the initial roots, following three cases arise. The first case is when the roots of the initial equation are distinct and do not differ by an integer. The second case is the roots of the initial equation are both equal, and the third case is the roots of the initial equation differ by an integer. Let us take these cases one by one. So let us first discuss the case of the distinct roots not differing by an integer. So let us say that let r1 and r2 be the roots of the initial equation such that r1 minus r2 is not equal to n, where n is an integer. So what we will do is that we will substitute r equal to r1 in the recurrence relation, and we shall obtain the values of the coefficients c1, c2 and so on, and thus get the solution, first solution of the differential equation, y1x equal to x minus x naught to the power r1 into c naught plus c1 into x minus x naught plus c2 into x minus x naught whole square and so on, where c1, c2 are expressed in terms of the c naught. Similarly, corresponding to r equal to r2, we will find the second solution y2x, which is x minus x naught to the power r2 into c naught plus c1 dash x minus x naught, c2 dash x minus x naught whole square and so on, where again c1 dash, c2 dash are expressed in terms of c naught. Now these two solutions y1x and y2x are both linearly independent, because y1 over y2 cannot reduce to a constant, since r1 minus r2 is not equal to an integer. So we will then write their linear combination and have the general solution of the differential equation, and thus we have the following rule: when the roots r1 and r2 of the initial equation are both distinct and do not differ by an integer, the general solution is found by replacing r by r1 and r by r2 in the expression y(x) equal to sigma in Cm x minus x naught to the power m plus r, where Cm's are found from the recurrence relation, and we write the general solution as y(x) equal to a times y1x plus b times y2x. Let us study an example on the case 1. Let us consider the differential equation 2x square y double dash minus xy dash plus 1 minus x square into y equal to 0. Let us note that x equal to 0 is a regular singular point of the given differential equation. Here a naught is equal to 2x square, which vanishes at x equal to 0, and a1x over a naught x will be equal to minus 1 upon 2x. A2x over a naught x will be 1 minus x square over 2x square. So when we multiply a1x over a naught x by x minus x naught, that is x, and a2x over a naught x by x square, then they both have removable similarities at x equal to 0. Therefore x equal to 0 is a regular singular point of the given differential equation, and therefore we can apply the Frobenius method to solve this differential equation of second order. So let us assume the solution of the differential equation to be by x equal to sigma m equal to 0 to infinity Cm x to the power m plus r, where C naught is not equal to 0, and substitute it in the given differential equation. After substituting it in the given differential equation, we shall have 2 times sigma m equal to 0 to infinity m plus r into m plus r minus 1 Cm x to the power m plus r minus sigma m equal to 0 to infinity m plus r Cm x to the power m plus r plus 1 minus x square into sigma m equal to 0 to infinity Cm x to the power m plus r. Now we can note that the lowest power of x here will be r, which we get from the first term and the second term, and also from the third term when we multiply sigma Cm x to the power m plus r to 1. So we can see that the initial equation here will turn out to be 2r into r minus 1 C naught minus r C naught plus C naught equal to 0, which we get by equating to 0 the coefficient of the lowest power of x, that is r. X, the coefficient of x to the power r, we put 0 equal to 0 and get this initial equation, from where we have 2r square minus 3r plus 1 equal to 0, as C naught is not equal to 0, and then the roots of this equation are r1 equal to 1 and r2 equal to half. Both these roots are distinct and do not differ by an integer, and so now next we put the coefficient of the next higher power of x equal to 0. The next coefficient of next higher power of x is gives us C1 equal to 0, and then we put the coefficient of x to the power m plus r equal to 0 to obtain the recurrence relation, which is m plus r minus 1 into 2m plus 2r minus 1 into Cm equal to Cm minus 2 for m equal to 2, 3 and so on, because m is greater than or equal to 2 here. Hence for r equal to 1, from this recurrence relation we shall have C2 equal to C naught over 2 into 5, C3 equal to 1 over 3 into 7 into C1, but C1 is equal to 0, so C3 is also 0, and C4 will turn out to be 1 over 4 into 9 into C2. The value of C2 we substitute here in terms of C naught and get C4 as 1 over 2 into 5 into 4 into 9 into C naught, etc. Thus a solution of the given equation is by 1x equal to C naught x into 1 plus x square over 2 into 5 plus x to the power 4 over 2 into 5 into 4 into 9 and so on. A1 equal to 0, C1 equal to 0 implies C3, C5, C7 all are zeros. So only the coefficients of even powers of x are present in this solution by 1x. Similarly, taking r equal to half, we get the second solution of the differential equation as by 2x equal to C naught x to the power half into 1 plus x square over 2 into 3 plus x to the power 4 over 2 into 4 into 3 into 7, and then we can write the general solution of the differential equation as y equal to a into y1x plus b into y2x, where a and b are arbitrary constants. Now let us next take up the case of the initial equation having equal roots. So in this case, if r1 and r2 are the roots of the initial equation, they are equal, and so we have r1 is equal to r2. Now in this case, one of the linearly independent solutions of the differential equation is obtained by substituting r equal to r1 in the series solution. The second solution can be obtained by applying the method of variation of parameters by assuming y2x equal to ux into y1x. but there is an alternate simple method to obtain the second independent solution y to x, which is illustrated as below. Let us take the example of the differential equation x by double dash plus y dash minus xy equal to 0. You can note here that again x equal to 0 is a regular singular point of this equation, so Frobenius method can be applied, and we can therefore assume a solution of the solution of this differential equation to be of the form yx equal to sigma m equal to 0 to infinity Cm x to the power m plus r, where C naught is not equal to 0. We substitute this value of yx, this expression for yx in the given differential equation to obtain sigma m equal to 0 to infinity m plus r minus 1 Cm x to the power m plus r minus 1 plus sigma m equal to 0 to infinity m plus r Cm x to the power m plus r minus 1 minus sigma m equal to 0 to infinity Cm x to the power m plus r plus 1 equal to 0. And again we will put the coefficient of the lowest power of x to 0. The coefficient of lowest power of x here will be obtained by taking m equal to 0. From the first term, when you take m equal to 0, you get x to the power r minus 1. In the second term also you get x to the power r minus 1, but in the third term when you take m equal to 0, you get x to the power r plus 1. So the least power of x is r minus 1, and the coefficient of x to the power r minus 1 is available from the first and second term only. So the initial equation therefore is given by the coefficients of x to the power r minus 1 present in the first and second terms. It is given by r into r minus 1 plus r into C naught equal to 0, which implies r square equal to 0, as per our assumption C naught is not equal to 0. And thus we can see that the initial equation has two equal roots 0 0. Now next we equate to 0 the coefficient of next higher power of x, that is we equate to 0 the coefficient of x to the power r. This will give us r plus 1 whole square into C1 equal to 0. Since r is equal to 0, therefore C1 will be 0. Let us now substitute the coefficient of x to the set the coefficient of x to the power m plus r plus 1 to 0. This will give us the recurrence relation Cm plus 2 equal to Cm over m plus r plus 2 whole square for m equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. And we have already seen that C1 is equal to 0. So, and this recurrence relation connects with Cm plus 2 with Cm. So, if C1 is 0, C3, C5, C7 all will be zeros. Now, from this recurrence relation we can see that if we put m equal to 0, we get the value of C2 as C naught over r plus 2 whole square. So, now we get the value of C4 from the recurrence relation. C4 will be equal to C2 over r plus 4 whole square. And when we put the value of C2 here in terms of C naught, we get the value of C4 as C naught over r plus 2 whole square into r plus 4 whole square. C6 similarly will come out to be C naught over r plus 2 whole square into r plus 4 whole square into r plus 6 whole square. And thus the solution for r the solution of the differential equation can be written as yx equal to C naught x to the power r 1 plus x square over r plus 2 whole square plus x to the power 4 over r plus 2 whole square r plus 4 whole square and so on, which satisfies all the recurrence relations. Now, in this if you put r equal to 0, you will get one of the linearly independent solutions of the given differential equation as y1x equal to C naught into 1 plus x square by 2 square plus x to the power 4 over 2 square 4 square plus x to the power 6 over 2 square 4 square 6 square and so on, which we call as C naught into C naught into ux. Now, substituting yrx equal to C naught x to the power r into 1 plus x square over r plus 2 whole square plus x to the power 4 over r plus 2 whole square into r plus 4 whole square and so on. In the given differential equation, we will have x into yr double dash plus yr dash minus x yr equal to C naught into r square into x to the power r minus 1, because this expression for yrx satisfies all the recurrence relations except the initial equation. So, the right hand side of the equation x by r double dash plus by r dash minus x by r is C naught into r square into x to the power r minus 1. Now differentiating this equation partially with respect to r, let us treat r as a parameter. We shall have x into d square over dx square plus d over dx minus x operating on delta by r over delta r equal to C naught into 2r x to the power r minus 1 plus r square into x to the power r minus 1 into ln x. At r equal to 0, we can see here that the right hand side of this equation vanishes, and hence delta by r over delta r at r equal to 0 is also a solution of the differential equation. So let us differentiate delta by r, let us differentiate by rx with respect to r partially and put r equal to 0 to get the second independent solution of the given differential equation. So when we differentiate by rx equal to C naught x to the power r into 1 plus x square over r plus 2 whole square plus x to the power 4 over r plus 2 whole square into r plus 4 whole square and so on, partially with respect to r, we will get delta by r over delta r equal to C naught into x to the power r into ln x into 1 plus x square over r plus 2 whole square plus x to the power 4 over r plus 2 whole square into r plus 4 whole square and so on, and plus C naught x to the power r multiplied by minus 2x square over r plus 2 whole cube minus x to the power 4 into 2 over r plus 2 whole cube into r plus 4 whole square plus 2 over r plus 2 whole cube into r plus 2 over r plus 2 whole square into r plus 4 whole cube and so on, which is equal to ln x into by rx plus C naught x to the power r into minus 2x square over r plus 2 whole cube minus 2 times x to the power 4 over 1 over into 1 over r plus 2 whole cube into r plus 4 whole square plus 1 over r plus 2 whole square into r plus 4 whole cube and so on. Let us put r equal to 0 in this solution. We will get the second linearly independent solution of the given differential equation, which we denote by 2x. So by 2x is equal to delta by r over delta r at r equal to 0, which will give us ln x into by 1x minus C naught times x square over 4 plus 3 over 128 into x to the power 4 and so on. By 1x is equal to C naught into ux, so we get C naught times ux into ln x minus x square by 4 plus 3 over 128 into x to the power 4 and so on, which let us call as C naught into Vx. Here the general solution of the given differential equation is by x equal to a1 into y1x plus b1 into y2x, which is equal to a times ux plus b times vx, where we write a equal to a1 c naught and b is equal to b1 c naught. So thus we have the following rule in the case of equal roots of the initial equation. When the roots of the initial equation are equal, the complete solution of the differential equation is obtained from y equal to a times by r evaluated at r equal to r1 plus b times delta by r over delta r evaluated at r equal to r1, where yr is the series satisfying all the recurrence relations except the initial equation. Now let us study the case 3, where the roots of the initial equation differ by an integer. So let us say that r1 and r2 be the two roots of the initial equation such that r1 is greater than r2 and r1 and r2 differ by an integer, that is r1 minus r2 is equal to n, where n is a positive integer. Now in this case two types of problems occur. In the first type, two linearly independent solutions can be obtained by substituting r equal to r1 and r equal to r2 in by x, as in the case 1, while in the second type of problems two cases arise. In the first case, one of the coefficients becomes infinite for one of the initial roots. As a result, the other coefficients which are connected to this coefficient through the recurrence relation also become infinite. In the second case, one of the coefficients becomes indeterminate for one of the initial roots, say r equal to r naught. Now this root produces the complete solution because it contains two arbitrary constants. the solution obtained by putting the second initial root r equal to r1 n by x produces a linearly dependent solution. Let us now discuss these cases. Let us illustrate all these possibilities through the following examples. So, let us take the an example of type 1. Let us consider the differential equation x square into y double dash plus x3 into y dash plus x square minus 2 into y equal to 0. We can see here that again 0 is a regular singular point of this differential equation. So, we can apply Frobenius method. So, let us put y equal to sigma m equal to 0 to infinity Cm x to the power m plus r, where C naught is not equal to 0 in the given differential equation. We will get sigma m equal to 0 to infinity m plus r into m plus r minus 1 minus 2 into Cm into x to the power m plus r plus sigma m equal to 0 to infinity m plus r plus 1 into Cm into x to the power m plus r plus 2 equal to 0. Again we put the coefficient of the least power of x to 0, which we will get from the first term. When you put m equal to 0 in the first term, you get the power of x as r. In the second term, when you put m equal to 0, you get the power of x as r plus 2. So, the coefficient of the lowest power of x, that is the coefficient of x to the power r, occurs in the first term, and that when we equate to 0, we get the initial equation as C naught into r minus 1 minus 2 equal to 0. Since C naught is not equal to 0, the two values of r are 2 and minus 1. You can see that both these values of r differ by an integer. R1 is 2 here, R2 is minus 1. So, R1 is greater than R2 and R1 minus R2 is equal to 3, which is a positive integer. So, the roots differ by an integer. Now, put the coefficient of next higher power of x to 0, that is the coefficient of x to the power r plus 1 when equated to 0 gives us r into r plus 1 minus 2 into C1 equal to 0. And if you put r equal to 2 or if you put r equal to minus 1, you can see here from this equation that for both these values of r, C1 turns out to be 0. Next, in order to find the recurrence relation between the coefficients of the series solution, we shall put the coefficient of x to the power m plus r plus 2 to 0. This will give us Cm plus 2 equal to minus of m plus r plus 1 into Cm over m plus r plus 1 into m plus r plus 2 minus 2 for m equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on, or you can say m is greater than or equal to 0. Now, we have seen here that for both values of r, that is for r equal to 2 and r equal to minus 1, C1 is equal to 0 and Cm plus 2 is related to Cm through this recurrence relation. So, C1 equal to 0 implies that C3, C5, C7 all are zeros. Hence, for r equal to 2, we get the value of C2 equal to minus 3 over 10 into C naught, C4 is equal to minus 5 over 28 into C2, which will give us 3 over 56 into C naught when we put the value of C2 in this. And thus we get the solution, one solution of the differential equation by 1 x as C naught x square into 1 minus 3 over 10 into x square plus 3 over 56 into x to the power 4 and so on. Now, next let us put the other value of r, that is r equal to minus 1 in the recurrence relation. We can see that from the recurrence relation C2 becomes equal to 0 for this value of r. Thus, now we have C1 equal to 0 and C2 equal to 0, because C1 equal to 0 we got for both values of r equal to 2 as well as r equal to minus 1, and C2 comes out to be 0 for r equal to minus 1. So, in the case of r equal to minus 1, both C1 and C2 are zeros, and thus C3, C4, C5, C6 all are zeros, and so we get the second solution of the differential equation by 2x as C naught over x for r equal to minus 1, and thus we can write the general solution of the differential equation as by x equal to a times x square minus 3 over 10 x to the power 4 plus 3 over 56 x to the power 6 and so on plus by over x. You can see that both the solutions by 1 and x by 2x are clearly linearly independent. Now, let us look at the type 2 of the second type of differential equations, we will first consider the case 1, where one of the coefficients of the differential equations becomes infinite at a initial root. So how we will tackle such problems? So let us take an example of the differential equation x into 1 plus x by double dash plus 3x by dash plus y equal to 0. We can see here that again x equal to 0 is a regular singular point, hence we can apply the Frobenius method. So let us substitute y equal to sigma m equal to 0 to infinity Cm x to the power m plus r, where C naught is not equal to 0 in the given differential equation. We get the initial equation as C naught into r minus 1 equal to 0, which gives us r equal to 0 and 1, since C naught is not equal to 0, by equating to 0 the coefficient of the least power of x. And by equating to 0 the coefficient of x to the power m plus r, we obtain the recurrence relation. The recurrence relation is Cm plus 1 is equal to minus m plus r minus into m plus r plus 1 over m plus r into Cm, where m is greater than or equal to 0. And thus the values of C1, C2, C3 can be determined in terms of C naught from this recurrence relation. C1 comes out to be minus r plus 1 over r into C naught, C2 is r plus 2 over r into C naught, C3 is minus r plus 3 over r into C naught, and when we put the values of those coefficients Cm's in the expression for yx, we will have the solution as yx equal to C naught x to the power r into 1 minus r plus 1 over r into x plus r plus 2 over r into x square minus r plus 3 over r into x cube, and so on. Now let us note that when r is equal to 0, C1 becomes infinite here. It becomes infinity, and consequently all the remaining coefficients also become infinite because they are related to C1 and hence to C naught. So therefore, in order to obtain the coefficient, the solution, we assume that C naught is equal to A naught into r. In order to overcome the similarity at r equal to 0, since C naught is an arbitrary constant, we can choose it in any manner. So we choose C naught as A naught into r, where A naught is not equal to 0. Then the values of C1, C2 will be C1 is equal to minus r plus 1 into A naught, C2 will be r plus 2 into A naught, and so on. In general, we will make a remark here. In general, if a coefficient of the yx series becomes infinite at a certain value of r, say r is equal to r naught, then in order to overcome the similarity at r naught, we replace C naught by A naught into r minus r naught, where A naught is not equal to 0, so that all the coefficients are well defined. And with this choice of C naught equal to A naught into r, it turns out that the transformed initial equation becomes A naught into r square into r minus 1 equal to 0, and the solution transforms into yrx equal to A naught into x to the power r into r minus r plus 1 into x plus r plus 2 into x square minus r plus 3 into x cube, and so on. Substituting this series for yrx in the given differential equation, we get x into 1 plus x by r double dash plus 3x by r dash plus by r equal to the initial equation A naught into r square into r minus 1, because by r satisfies all the recurrence relations except the initial equation, and initial equation which was C naught into r minus 1 equal to 0 changed into A naught r square into r minus 1 after we had chosen C naught equal to A naught into r. So we can see here that the right hand side of this equation vanishes at r equal to 0, and thus yrx is a solution of the given differential equation for r equal to 0. And if we put r equal to 0 in the expression for yrx, then we get one solution of the differential equation as A naught into minus x plus 2x square minus 3x cube, and so on, which may be written as minus A naught into x into 1 plus x to the power minus 2, because the infinite power series in the bracket is an expansion of 1 plus x to the power minus 2. For r equal to 1, if we find the value of y x from y r x, it turns out that y x is equal to a naught x into 1 minus 2x plus 3x square and so on, which is a naught x into 1 plus x to the power minus 2, and which is nothing but minus by 1 x. So the second solution, if we find from y r x by putting r equal to 1 straight away, it gives us a linearly dependent solution. It is nothing but negative of the solution, first solution, that is a negative of y 1 x. Thus, to find linearly independent solution, second linearly independent solution of the given differential equation, we will have to do something else. So what we will do is, the solution corresponding to the second initial root is not independent of y 1 x by putting r equal to 1 in by r x straight away. So what we will do, we will differentiate the equation 5 partially with respect to r, and we shall then have x into 1 plus x into d square over dx square plus 3x into d over dx plus 1 operating on delta by r over delta r equal to a naught into 3r square minus 2r. If we put r equal to 0 in the right hand side of this equation, it vanishes. So we can see that delta by r over delta r at r equal to 0 is also a solution of the given differential equation. Now let us differentiate partially the series for y r x. That it will give us delta by r over delta r equal to a naught x to the power r into ln x multiplied by r minus r plus 1 into x plus r plus 2 into x square and so on, plus a naught x to the power r into 1 minus x plus x square minus x cube plus and so on. And so when we put r equal to 0 in this expression for delta y over delta r, it will lead us to second linearly independent solution of the given differential equation, that is by 2x. By 2x is now equal to delta by r over delta r at r equal to 0, which is ln x into y 1 x plus a naught into 1 minus x plus x square minus x cube and so on, which is equal to ln x into y 1 x plus a naught times 1 plus x to the power minus 1. 1 plus x to the power minus 1, we all know that it is equal to 1 minus x plus x square minus x cube and so on, provided mod of x is less than 1. Hence the general solution of the given differential equation we can write, it is by x equal to a times by 1 x plus by 2x. Now let us study the second case of second type 2, where we had said that the initial roots, one solution of the differential equation is such that one of the coefficients of the solution becomes indeterminate. So how to deal with such type of differential equations? So let us consider the differential equation x square by double dash plus 6x by dash plus 6 plus x square into y equal to 0. Now here again x equal to 0 is a regular singular point of the given differential equation, so we can apply the Frobenius method. Let us assume the solution of the differential equation to be y equal to sigma m equal to 0 to infinity Cm x to the power m plus r, where C naught is not equal to 0. Let us substitute it in the given equation. We shall have sigma m equal to 0 to infinity m plus r into m plus r plus 5 plus 6 into Cm x to the power m plus r plus sigma m equal to 0 to infinity Cm into x to the power m plus r plus 2 equal to 0. Again we will put the coefficient of the lowest power of x to 0. The lowest power of x that occurs in this equation is r. So we put the coefficient of x to the power r to 0. We will get r into r plus 5 plus 6 into C naught equal to 0, which gives us the two values of r as minus 2 and minus 3. Clearly minus 2 is greater than minus 3, and the difference of minus 2 and minus 3 is 1, which is an integer. Now let us equate to 0 the coefficient of the next higher power of x, that is we put the coefficient of x to the power r plus 1 to 0. We have r plus 1 into r plus 6 plus 6 into C1 equal to 0. So when we put r equal to minus 2 in this equation, we note that C1 turns out to be 0. But if you put r equal to minus 3 in this, what we get is 0 into C1 equal to 0. So C1 becomes indeterminate. C1 is arbitrary, it can take any value. So what we do in this case, let us equate the coefficient of x to the power m plus r plus 2 to 0. We get the recurrence relation Cm plus 2 equal to minus Cm over m plus r plus 2 into m plus r plus 7 plus 6 for m greater than or equal to 0, or we can say m equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Now let us put r equal to minus 3 here. The solution is given by x equal to x to the power minus 3 into C0 times 1 minus x square by 2 factorial plus x to the power 4 over 4 factorial and so on, plus C1 times x minus x cube by 3 factorial plus x to the power 6 over 5 factorial and so on. C1, this is because C1 is arbitrary. So now therefore by x contains two arbitrary constants, C0 and C1. Now we know the series Maclaurin series expansions of sin x and cos x. We know that sin x is x minus x cube by 3 factorial plus x to the power 5 by 5 factorial and so on, and the Maclaurin series expansion for cos x is 1 minus x square by 2 factorial plus x to the power 4 by 4 factorial and so on. So when we make use of that, we will have the value of by x as C0 into cos x plus C1 into sin x over x cube. Now when we calculate the solution for r equal to minus 2, it turns out that by x is equal to C0 into x to the power minus 2 into 1 minus x square by 3 factorial plus x to the power 4 over 5 factorial and so on, which is also equal to C0 into x to the power minus 3 into sin x. And this clearly shows that r equal to minus 2 leads us to a linearly dependent solution. This is not independent of the solution for r equal to minus 3, and thus the initial root r equal to minus 3 gives us the complete solution of the given differential equation. So thus we have the following rule for dealing with such type of differential equations, that is the differential equations which come under the type 2, when the roots r1 and r2 of the differential equation of the initial equation differ by an integer, then one solution of the differential equation is given by 1x equal to x to the power r1 into C0 plus C1x plus C2x square and so on, and the other linearly independent solution is given by 2x equal to k times by 1x into ln x plus x to the power r2 into d0 plus d1x plus d2x square and so on. Now when we dealt with the type 2 case, there were two cases in type 2. In first case we had seen that the solutions for r1 and r2 can be obtained directly, and then in the second case we had seen that in type 1 we had seen that the solution for r1 and r2 can be obtained directly. So in that case k was equal to 0, while in the type 2 we had dealt with two cases. In the first case we had seen that k is not equal to 0 because we had to differentiate partially the series for y/x with respect to r. So that second solution contained the logarithmic term, and therefore k was not equal to 0. But in case 2 of the type 2, okay, it turned out that k is equal to 0 because the second solution was linearly dependent to the first solution, and the first solution itself had two arbitrary constants C0 and C1. So it had given us the general solution, and thus for dealing with the differential equations where the roots of the initial equation differ by an integer, one solution will be x to the power r1 into C0 plus C1x plus C2x square and so on, while the other solution could be k into y1x plus ln x k times y1x into ln x plus x to the power r2 into d0 plus d1x plus d2x square and so on, where k may turn out to be 0. We will discuss the solution of Bessel's equation in our next talk, where we will use the Frobenius method to find the series solution of the Bessel's equation, and we'll discuss the properties of the Bessel's equation. We'll also discuss orthogonality of Bessel functions, and then the generating function of the Bessel's function and so on. So all those things will be discussed in our next lecture. Thank you.